Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is the Blue Heaven Podcast. I must push the applaud button because I'm so happy we're here. I'm actually, some stuff to talk about, so...
We actually weren't going to do this today.
We weren't going to do it. We told you on Monday we weren't going to do it. But anyways, what's going on, Dodgers Nation? My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes, you can. Guys, my name is Brooke. You can find me at BrookeMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. On today's show, we're coming apart at the seams a little bit in a lot of different ways. Losing 3 or 4 against the Marlins is a good start to that, but there's also a lot more going on with this team.
Yeah, I feel like that one's going to need more clarity, more explanation, which we'll get to in a few minutes.
We also got to stick around for the whole show.
We also got to talk about a Clayton Kershaw update because there was some bad and then there was some good. And really, it's my fault. We have to touch on Blue Heaven's divine powers that apparently we do have some sort of powers to affect the world. We will touch on the trade deadline coming up in a few weeks. You got to figure that right after the All-Star break, it should be all hell breaking loose. So, yeah, all that and more on today's episode of Blue Haven. We got to remind you this is a podcast, so if you like hearing us or hearing the same thing again, or if you can't watch live, watch us on Hear Us in your car holes, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Pandora. We sound real bassy in there, so you're welcome. Also, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. That's what happens when you're trying to get too many words out at the same time.
Again, we were not supposed to be here today. Last minute decision to come to you guys. And don't forget, this is a live stream, and we are here, even though we did not plan to be. We communicated during the game today, and we were like, we should probably do a show today. There's a lot to talk about. We don't want to talk all about it on Monday. Mondays are rough. I'm often very tired. But make sure you drop into the chat. Let us know where you're repping Dodgers Nation tonight. We want to shout you guys out. We want to talk to you, Anthony, over on Periscope, checking in like he does every single time we go live. Anthony, we appreciate you. He said, happy Thursday, my dude. Anthony, good to see you.
In the same vein, Brian Hatfield, our friend Brian Hatfield's in the stream. He says, "Oi, how you gents? How you doing, Brian? Thanks for hanging out with us." David is checking in from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Born and raised. The playground's where I spent most of my days.
Luna's checking in from SoCal. Go Blue. Oh, sorry, Nicole Lumina. I put this 2 words. I'm really
together?
Just trying to get ahead. Verdell says they managed to salvage one game they did. It was nice. Thank you, Julio. That was desperately needed.
Leslie says, "Hi boys, coming at you from shaky Central Valley. They had a couple earthquakes not too long ago.
Oh,
like
I thought she said
2 hours ago, maybe.
Shaky's in
coming
Central.
at you live from Shaky's Pizza. Get the mojos.
Yeah, send us some mojos.
Whatever they have there.
I think they'll keep at the P.O. box. Chase is also in the stream. I think he already said he asked what we're drinking. We're drinking Modelo as usual, although we are low. So one of us has to go do a beer run. And I think we still have money left over in the beer fund that you guys do send us. Anybody who sends us money on the super chat on YouTube, we appreciate you. It stocks our fridge full of beer. We also got some new beer from our friends over at Figueroa Mountain, so watch us drink that on Monday.
Neil K is checking in from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Why are you watching us, dude? You're in Hawaii.
Dude, there's way better things. Just look out the window. Right there. That's your window. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know if we've ever had a Hawaii person check in. That's exciting. We're all over the place.
Ryan Moore says, everybody riot at Clint's house. I would prefer not that, but if you do...
He has a pergola.
Don't take it out of my pergola. That's my special area. And I have my booze out there. It's behind lock and key. It's a nice time. Verdell says Clayton probably just needs a few days of rest. We will get to the Clayton Kershaw stuff. There is some positive news in that regard from Dave Roberts.
Jeff Snyder, he's checking in from a hotel room in Rexburg, Idaho.
Oh, sorry to hear that, or good for you.
Congratulations on episode 400, I believe it was. With
600.
600? No, it was not 600. Was it 600?
Our friends Vince and Jeff over at Locked On Dodgers, 600 episodes. They haven't missed a week in like a billion weeks or something like that. We often say, I don't know how they do that. I know how they do it. It's drugs.
Yeah. That's why he's in Rexburg, Idaho. Jeff's an animal. His family's no longer speaking to him because he only does podcasts now.
Ari's checking in on YouTube, says hashtag road to repeat. Ari, always a friend of the show here. Got some more people. Brian finished you off.
Brian did words. What?
Saying chilling out in Maxton. Woodland, California is in the stream. We got Kevin checking in from Jersey. Alondra Does not always hear live, but does catch up on Spotify. Thank you. I think Spotify is one of the best ways to watch it. If you guys share us on your social media, that would mean a lot to us. We're not asking you to, but it would mean a lot. Maybe we'll send you a sticker or something.
Just got suddenly very hot in here, by the way. Like there was a gust of hot.
It happens. It's warm over here in South Pass. All right.
Boy.
Is it time to move on? You guys are going off for sure. Sean appreciates your stash.
Oh, thanks, Sean.
We were just looking at some old photos of some beautiful, delicious Brooks stash, and he looked like an absolute dirtbag about this time last year. So, good job on you, bud.
Thanks, guys. I aim to please nobody, especially myself.
Backup T1 on YouTube asking, can we DF you, Clint? What do you think? Can we DFA me?
DF you? You are having a hard time today.
All right, I will slow down.
Well, the problem is if we DFA, well, I guess we could recall Doug McCain. Yeah, we could, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's possible.
But no, that would be calling him back down to AAA. He's the big leaguer.
That's true. He is the face of the franchise. That might be an issue.
All right. I will try to slow down. You want to know why? It's because I didn't have my energy drink. I guess that brings me down. That levels me out. All right, let's get into the stuff for the day. Immediately, right off the bat, the Dodgers have themselves and their fans very much riding roller coasters. You go from a 4-game sweep of the Nats, who, when the Dodgers came into Washington Field, or whatever they call it these days, which is not called that, the Nats were rolling, and the Dodgers swept them. And then they go to Miami, who at the time was like 35 and 40 some odd. They were not good. And they lose 3 of 4. So I was closest because I said
split.
I was closest.
Didn't I say win 3 out of 4?
I think
I was talking about the Marlins.
We've established you can't do that because I got some crap for that one. So my analysis of the series was oof. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of feels like one of those things where Donnie Baseball is going to win ball games against you. That's not true. The Dodgers beat themselves 3 of 4 games. So good on them for that. I do really enjoy the fact that the Marlins just have like randomly very lively bullpen arms.
Yeah.
Like very randomly, just guys that are just freaks of nature coming out of their bullpen. And then they end up getting traded eventually, and then their careers fall apart. What was that one guy that was there? Bear Claw?
Oh,
what was his name?
Bear Claw. Didn't they wasn't Boxberger one of their guys too?
I don't know. Wintgreen, is he still there? Those are all names that were like, the Dodgers are going to get these guys. They're going to get them. And then they leave, and then they're garbage when they leave. So it's funny how that happens. The Dodgers look bad playing those games. I can't even like begin to tell you like what was wrong. It was just like a little everything, honestly.
To me, it's a continuation of what we've seen often with these times, or with this team this season, with the Dodgers this season. When the Dodgers play that type of fiery, wiry, dynamic, young, athletic team, they struggle. Even if they're bad, the Marlins aren't necessarily great, but they're not terrible. They were pretty good last year. Not so much this year. They have good pitching, but they're still they're always going to be that teetering club. They need a star. They already need 2 stars to really pull things together. Love Miggy Rojas, not a star. Good veteran, should be a bench guy, not your starter. Anyway, look at the way LA plays when they play like San Diego, which is a very fast team. It's a loose team. They don't necessarily always care about the errors. They'll throw the ball away, but they'll make 5 other really good plays. They'll steal 38 bases in a game against the Dodgers. The Dodgers seem to really struggle against these type of high-energy teams.
Why?
I don't know. I was hoping you could tell me, analyst.
Well, somebody was like, well, the Padres kind of set the blueprint. They set the blueprint for how to beat the Dodgers, and now everyone's looking at it like the brown print. Yeah, and they kind of did it the year before. They kind of did it the year before that. I mean, I guess Tatis coming over was like their first taste of it, but it just really feels like there's no stopping teams from running at this point, which is funny. Because from the Dodgers' viewpoint, it's like, man, we could never steal a base. Like, that's not happening. We're not swiping a base anytime soon. But then you look at other teams, and they get on, and you're like, that's a foregone conclusion at this point that he's about to steal a base. I mean, who did they just have that just stole his like first career base over this week? I don't know if it was Garrett Cooper or whoever it was, but
sounds like
big
Cooper.
Boys who don't run are running because it's like, yeah, we can run. Why not? They're not going to pay attention to us. You get the highest leg kick in the world, the slowest delivery to home plate in the world. Yeah. Add to that, Will Smith and Austin Barnes, both respectable arms in of themselves, but you add in those combinations of factors working against them, and it's not a recipe for success. I'll tell you that. It's basically, if you're walking a guy, you gave up an extra base hit a lot of times, and that is rough to overcome.
I think probably the best arm at holding players on is Joe Kelly somehow, because he varies his time. He's got a decent slide step. Otherwise, everybody's going to steal.
You see Bickford throw like a 99-mile-an-hour heater over to Max Muncy at first.
Yeah, poor Maxie. Gave him a little shimmy. I don't know. Again, it's just it's something I think there's a lot that the Dodgers need to clean up, and they need this reset. They definitely need this All-Star break weekend or week reset. They're going to take those 4 days, and I hope they don't touch a baseball and a bat. Hope they just like sit on a beach drinking something strong, got a new girl. Got it going on. Yeah, you know,
in Honolulu?
With
our boy?
Yeah, the Honolulu boy.
With that guy.
There's a lot of problems. We got a lot of problems with you people. And we'll talk more about that on Monday. Of course, the big news. We go to Miami, bad things happen. This we already know. We know this. The worst news that could have happened right now in our time of need, Clayton Edward Kershaw hits the injured list with a forearm thing, because it was first called an elbow, which immediately your heart drops, and then do you hear forearm, your heart raises just a tad, but it's still down a few rungs on the old ladder. How many tears did you cry?
So initially the initial release was elbow inflammation, and that made me feel good. Not good. It was like, okay, that's not a big deal. But then when they changed it like 33 seconds later to forearm inflammation, it made me stress a little bit, because that's often an indication of something worse. It's not always, to be clear. It's not always. Doesn't make you feel good about it. I've heard the argument before, and I want to get your take on this because I have a very negative viewpoint of it. I've heard the argument of like they just want to get him some rest before the All-Star break, and they want to take up his spot with somebody else. So they're gonna put him on the IL, let him take the whole All-Star break. He'll be back immediately after, and he's good to go. My counter to that is I don't know if Clayton Kershaw is worth the effort of an entire team to give him one break. Because that's what they're doing right now, is they're putting the stress on everybody else. Because now you only have 3 starting pitchers.
Yeah, at a time like this where, we're going to talk more about the 3 starting pitchers and the idea, the concept in my head of things ripping apart at the seams, like barely holding on by a thread would probably be more accurate way of saying it. But yeah, to save him, the 5 or 6 innings and all of that, I don't think it's exactly they just want to give him a day. I think there was a little bit of something barking in there, and if it was the postseason, he'd be throwing.
Dave
said this morning he came in and did his usual like pre-start workout.
Right. So I mean,
or day before.
Jeff brings up a good point, and he says there's no way this was a let's just give him a break. You don't do that when you're already short a starter, and when you're short 2 starters, it really makes it more difficult. Your bullpen's already taxed. We knew that coming into today. We still have more bullpen games coming up on the horizon, obviously. I just don't envision a scenario where the Dodgers are like, we'll just give him a day of rest. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it too much. But
Brandon says Kershaw's taking that break to replace his meat arm with the robot arm.
Meat arm is a new way to describe things that I've never quite heard. So that's good. I appreciate that. But when you're looking ahead at it, I mean, the thing that I heard from David Vesia that I did not agree with was that it's not a serious injury because Kershaw was in the dugout smiling and laughing, having a good time. That's not any indication of anything to me. That doesn't tell me, oh yeah, he's fine. He's 100% okay. Yeah. First of all, haven't done tests yet. The MRI is coming tomorrow. So there is no way that you can know anything beyond what you're feeling is pain, and that's it. So I don't understand that argument at all because people are like, oh yeah, he's fine then. David Vesia said he's fine. He's having fun. I'm like, having fun?
The timing of it is bad just because everybody is on edge right now with all of the bullpen games. There's been way more bullpen games than you would have expected out of a team that went into spring training with 8, high-quality starters or 8 of the best starters in the world or whatever the hell they wanted to sell it as. But let's be fair, it's not as bad as we all want to think it is, for sure. Here's Dave. This is what Dave had to say this morning, Mr. Dave Roberts, friend of the show, and then we'll listen to Dave kind of break down our thoughts after Dave. More Dave. Dave.
He was here early, first bus, doing his day game routine, running in the weight room. But I think, Jorge, we're not going to know until he gets a test when we get back to Los Angeles.
And that will be obviously tomorrow.
It'll be, yes, sir. Yep.
Do you know what kind of test? Is it MRI, X-rays?
I would expect an MRI. Yeah.
And what's your level of concern?
Not a whole lot. I think it's just more of, to skip a start, to leverage the break. I'm not too concerned about it.
So understandably, we are weary of Dave's answers at all times and at any given point in our entire life. So anytime Dave says something, I kind of take it with a grain of salt because he's going to give you the company answer. He's going to give you the answer that's going to probably put the least amount of stress on you, unless we're talking about Matt Beatty, in which case he's going to be very honest and straightforward with you about how he feels because apparently he doesn't like him. Man, it gives me weird feelings. I feel nervous about it, to be honest with you. I would like to feel happy about it. I would like to feel, not too stressed about it, but I'm a little stressed because number one, he's throwing that slider a ton.
Yeah.
Which is, a thing for a pitcher. And obviously you're like, he's a big league pitcher. He's been doing this a long time. Yeah, of course he has. He's got a lot of innings under his belt in his career. That doesn't mean that he's not susceptible to injury, of course.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, like you're saying, we're in a situation now where it's much more stressful because of what's happening, and so it's highlighted a little bit. So I think under normal circumstances, maybe I'd be like, it's like his back, his back in years past, where it's like, he's gonna miss, 5, 6, 7 starts, whatever it might be. But now I'm like, crap. I really hope there's not something wrong with him, man.
I think they could have done this a lot better. They absolutely could have. It does feel a lot like rest. We've talked about you're coming off a 60-game season. CK has not thrown 30 starts plus since 2016, 2017. It's been a minute since
and he was well on track for that.
Yeah, he's well on track. So you got to find ways to kind of trim the fat, as it were, on some innings. So maybe you feel a little bit of that. I think had they just said we're going to skip a start to give him some rest through the All-Star break,
right,
since he didn't make the All-Star team, let's give him a blow.
Dave's favorite way to say that.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't think it's that bad. I think we'll be fine. With that said, I saw a comment that says he's probably done for the season. T3 Pre says out for the season confirmed. So one of the things I wanted to bring up,
real positive viewpoint.
I'm going to throw this one at you, and you guys could have some fun with it as well. We are now about a month into the post-Sticky era. The first guy who was very vocal about the change in no sticky, anything sticky being negative to his elbow meat, to his flesh arm, was Tyler Glasnow, who partially blew out his elbow because he's like, I have to grip the ball a little harder. Let's be honest, Clayton Kershaw has always had the little dark spot on his hat that he says, I wear the same hat all season long. Cute. We get it. It's the old tried and true rosin and sunscreen most likely. That's gone now. Your boy CK has been having some very clean hats. You wonder, you're doing that, you're adding the more sliders and all that kind of stuff. You wonder if that just kind of, if the idea of gripping the ball a little bit harder, and I have visual aids, gripping that ball a little bit harder, if it does, create that extra little, because it is forearm. Again, it's the forearm, so that's where you're going to feel it most. You're going to feel that tension more in the forearm muscles than your elbow and all that. He's not changing the whip of his arm, changing the grip in his hand. Speaking out of my ass, what do you think?
Dr. Oz. I'm Dr. Phil. It's the only two television doctors I know. I don't know. There's definitely something to it. I don't know how.
Dr. Feet.
I just don't know if you could ever relate the two or connect the two unless you're the pitcher saying it.
Curious.
That's why with Glasnow, I'm like, he's probably got something to that. I don't think he's just going to blame an arm injury on somebody without cause. I don't think he's going to be like, this is somebody else's fault. Like, no one's looking at him being like, how dare you get injured? Like, no, that's not the case. Could be the case. Don't want to stress anybody out. Absolutely. I don't want to compare it to Glasnow because Glasnow's injury is pretty serious.
Yeah.
I will say that it does make me worried. I will say that if that is the case and he was severely injured due to a terrible rule change in the middle of the season, I will personally drive to Rob Manfred's house and kick him square in the nuts myself. Is that a threat? No, please don't come after me. But it will happen.
So it's something to watch. I think Kershaw will be back on as part of his regularly scheduled programming after the All-Star break. But again, I'm a little this is one of the things that he was the type of guy I was worried about at first. I wasn't overly vocal about it because I didn't want to give away his trade secret of that black spot was not just I've been using this hat all season long, because you haven't been using that hat all season long in April, Kirsch. Sorry, Tony Crenshaw. Tony Crenshaw does not use anything on his hat. Anyways, sidebar, because why not? We need to address that elephant in the room of, yes, we do have magic powers. There's mystic powers that happen here at Blue Haven. We did an impromptu, unofficial let him play our DFA, and the very next day, Steve Seuss is gone.
Look,
nice dude.
That's back to back, man. I mean,
back to back.
That is literally quite literally back to back. First, you ended the career of Nate Jones. You saved Phil Bickford. There's that.
Did save Phil Bickford, yeah. And then
Bill Bickford.
And then last Thursday, I think it was, I said,
you worried about Kershaw's health?
No. I said one of my biggest surprises of the season was that Kershaw has made all of his starts this year, that he hasn't been hurt.
To be fair, we were expecting the back. We weren't expecting this. I mean, the back gives out. Once the back gives out, it gives out for life.
So, guys, if you need to get out of like a toxic relationship, you let me know. We'll talk about it here on air. If you guys need to win some lottery numbers, I want to cut.
If you have like an ex that you just really hate, we can wish the worst on him. I have a call-in line.
Let me know how you guys want me to affect Brooks' life. Let's drop it in the comments, hit the DMs. That's Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram. Anyways, all right. The coming apart at the seams. Not literally. Obviously, the Dodgers are one of the best teams in baseball. We get that. The numbers tell us. We know this. Sorry, I watched some Saturday Night Live bullshit over the weekend. But when you're down to 3 starters at the moment, things start to feel a little rough. You got Walker, you got Julio, you got Catman. We've already talked ad nauseum about Walker and Julio and their innings limits, because Julio now is very close to his career high from
between minors and majors.
Between minors and majors, and that was in 2016 before major shoulder surgery. Catman is going to be fine. He could probably go the whole season. Like we said, we hope Julio's out for just one start. You look at it, Bauer is not terribly likely to return. Today, the quick news, leave extended. His administrative leave extended by Major League Baseball. We know this. The team is very much distancing itself. We don't want to talk about it. We're done with it. We had our say. We're done with it. We did, however, just put out a new video on our YouTube channel. Doug put together a video, all the latest, what's going on with Bauer, so check that out. Dodgers Dugout featuring Doug McCain. That is on youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. Hey, while you're there, go ahead and subscribe. We'll wait. Anyway, so they're running out of options real quick. Dave has now reluctantly said, okay, David Price is pretty much going to be in the rotation in the second half. Let's hear from Dave again real quick on the Price blurb.
With him playing devil's advocate, how does he not fit into your rotation in the second half? Can you afford to keep him in the bullpen?
Probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Once again, Blue Heaven. Listen, Andrew and Dave, very much, it's clear they watch us. We are Farhan's laptop now.
I really like that role. I like that we've taken that on. We have not won any fantasy football at all.
You can't even win fantasy games, baseball games.
It's not my fault. I forget to check my roster.
It's kind of literally
my
by definition your fault.
Yeah, I should have like a co-manager or whatever it is. But here's the thing.
Co-agent.
Even before everything happened, even before Bauer had this thing happen to him, even before Clayton Kershaw went down, we were already saying like they really probably should consider stretching out David Price, because now you're getting to a point where a lot of guys are having a lot of innings on their arm in a season where they just started 8 to 12 games, somewhere in that range. And now it's like, hey, you're already at 16, 17 starts or whatever it might be. You got to really consider the long play of this, and going into October fresh, that's really difficult to do. Even then, we were like, hey, David Price, probably should stretch him out a little bit. Again, I keep falling back on this. I don't think Jimmy Nelson is an option at all for a lot of different reasons. Today, though, it was one of those things where Dave's like, hey, he's not going to be, we're not going to do anything over the All-Star break to get him more stretched out than he already would. And it's like, well, why not? Like, why? I mean, I understand, like, use that break, get rest, etc. But it still just feels like that reluctance is there. It still feels like that's not quite the plan. And that makes me think that there's something else going on behind the scenes, which is kind of always the case with the Dodgers, honestly.
Yeah, when we listened to Dave Price earlier this week, he was talking about how the Dodgers usually have 4 or 5 plays ahead of where everybody else is at right now. That could be the case. Maybe there is something going on with David Price, but at the same time, Pricey, which I'm calling him now, DP was very vocal about the fact that, yeah, I want to do it. I'm ready. Let's go. I'll do whatever they want, but I'm ready to start. Like, if anything, pitching in relief is probably worse for my arm than pitching every 5 days. Plus, I kind of miss hanging out in the dugouts between starts and doing all this other stuff. Yeah, it's about time. They got to make it happen. Why not utilize the All-Star break in some capacity to get him ready? He's going to start Friday now for the final homestand starting series. I guess it's final homestand of the unofficial first half, and probably get 30 pitches again because they lost, the buildup he had in the post-D-May era. I don't know, man.
It's one of those situations, too, where you're looking at, we already talked about David Price, and we're also talking about Jimmy Nelson, where if you take out one, let's just say one of those guys, really hurts a very tired bullpen already in the first place. And you could keep picking up those, hodgepodge arms or whatever you want to do. These guys are just going to fill the gaps. These guys that you're going to run into the ground for 3 weeks and then send them off to DFA land or whatever you want to do.
A sidebar on that. Phil Bickford, truther here. Don't expect him. Don't rely on that dude to be getting big innings in the postseason.
No,
you
I would
cannot
not say that.
Or even into September.
If you're there, we're probably in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a bullpen that has been this early in the season, arguably much too overworked. And then, everyone will have their arguments against that. Like, they're built for this. They're supposed to do this. That's their job, et cetera. Whatever you want to say. You're wrong, but that's okay. Thank you for being here. If you take Jimmy Nelson and David Price out of the bullpen, who do you got? I mean, who's out there? There's a couple arms that you can ride late in games in big situations, but aside from that, Edwin Uceta is not going to pick up big innings for you. Mitch White's not going to pick up big innings for you.
No. Alex Vesia has proven he can't cut it.
And in AAA, he can.
Apparently.
I think he struck out like 13 straight batters or something like that.
Stimmy Nelson is having a great season, but they can't move him out of the bullpen. They can't move him out of the bullpen because he is such a crucial part of that kind of back end core now. It's him.
Right.
Thankfully, Joe Kelly proved us wrong from our preseason predictions where we said he might not pitch for this team. Well, he's been pretty solid. Sorry, Joseph Kelly's been pretty damn solid. Angry Kenley has been, his hips don't lie anymore. He's getting it done.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, we have those pieces. Trinan is.
But what they're getting out of Bickford, what they're getting out of Clevenger, I really didn't see that one happening.
No, I mean,
and you can't depend on it.
You're talking about a bullpen now that's made up of several Joe Blantons, which is like not supposed to happen. You have several Brandon Morrow, Joe Blanton type of pitchers out there that are getting the job done as a stopgap. You got Corey Knebel hopefully coming back towards the playoffs. Hopefully, you really hope that, and I feel good about that. And he's a guy that's his arm's gonna play up in the postseason, especially a power arm like his definitely plays up in the postseason. Tommy's not coming. I don't see a situation where Tommy comes back this year. Tom Canley's not. Yeah. I just can't see him being ready by then, and I don't see the Dodgers forcing that either. I don't know.
There's Brusdar. They still want him to get better secondary stuff, but in his second stint this year, he's looked good. We'll talk more about second half stuff.
Monday
worries, all that kind of stuff, because I kind of want to go in on Lux, a little bit on Bellinger, a little bit on Mookie. So stay tuned for Monday. At Monday's episode of the Blue Haven podcast.
We're going to be mean.
That's what you got to do. But, yeah, with where things are at, trades have to happen. There's zero doubt about that. Dave pretty much admitted, they can't do anything. There's not sustainability with what they're doing. So that's where I feel we go back. We button it up with the whole concept of coming apart at the seams. This feels like I don't know, it's duct tape barely holding together.
Oh, I thought you were choking somebody.
No.
It's very confused.
No, probably not the time. The time or the place, Michael. Yeah, it's duct tape that's holding on your bumper of your 1994 Toyota Corolla, and that duct tape has some mileage on it. That duct tape has seen a few winters, if you will. So
we all dated that girl that had the duct tape holding up her window. We all dated one. Come on. Come on. I was that guy for a second,
Again, trades have got to happen, but first, Juice Lee says, are we going for starters or going for relievers? It's a good question. Norma likes us mean, by the way. That's good. Master Cat, I'm guessing, or Mr. First Cat? I'm going with one of them. On YouTube Cat says, yep, trades. We need some arms for sure. TDS is brought. Brandon Morrow throwing. We haven't heard the latest. I
forgot he's on the team.
The last time we heard anything about Brandon Morrow was Dave telling us, he's
dead.
Pretty much home. It looks like he's done. And then he was throwing the very next day at Camelback Ranch, which proves can't trust Dave Roberts.
To be fair, I just don't think he knows what's going on at all times outside of his team. Yeah. So,
but we need to get a Canely update from him. We need to get a Knable update from him. We need to see where some of these other arms are at. If they are going to be people we could focus on or look to the future, look to August for or something like that. I doubt they rush back Caleb Ferguson. He said he'll try. Dave said they don't want. He said he hopes. They said no, but I don't think this is an internal situation. So you got to look at the trades. So before we look at trades, I kind of wanted to throw back. It is Thursday. So we got to talk about Throwback Thursday. That's what we do. Thanks to our friends with our friends, I should say, over at Vintage Brand. We're going to talk about Throwback Thursday. Yes, at Vintage Brand, they have over 10,000 unique logos of your favorite professional sports teams and colleges. There's a gift there for every sports fan. Dodger shirts, sweaters, drinkware, posters, canvases, and more. We just gave away a canvas on Monday. Relive Dodgers championships of the past. And, you guys just missed a sale they had going on there, but there's always a sale going on at Vintage Brand. If you sign up at vintagebrand.com/site/subscribe, you can save 40% off your first order. Some really cool stuff there. We have stuff littered all throughout the office here, thanks to our friends at Vintage Brand. So check them out. So the topic I had for today, let's have a little bit of fun. All y'all have a little bit of fun for a couple of minutes here. What is, in your opinion, we probably talked about this before. If we have, screw it. We're going to do it again. What's the best trade deadline acquisition ever for the Dodgers? Or maybe in your lifetime. What do you think the best trade acquisition is? And again, we want to hear from you guys as well.
Like overall, like people they did trade for?
Mm-hmm.
I think Yu Darvish. And people are going to hate that. People are really going to hate that, and that's okay.
Oh, I was very confused because somebody said unfollowed. I was like, why'd you unfollow us?
They said, Yu Darvish?
I would give it to you if he had not done the whole Game 7 thing.
He didn't do that.
He was there. He said he did it.
He was there. Yeah, that's true.
He was kind of the dude.
He got cheated out of it. Forget about it. Look, there's a lot of ways that you can look at it. People talk about the Manny Machado trade, and they're like, that was a bad trade. I'm like, well, the Dodgers don't get to the World Series without Manny Machado. The Dodgers probably don't get to the World Series without Yu Darvish in that trade. Both very important. Both played a role. The Dodgers did not belong in the World Series that Manny Machado was in. Absolutely did not belong in that World Series, but it is what it is. Darvish got cheated. He was the best pitcher available at the time. He was the best arm out there at the time. People argue that Verlander was. I argue that Verlander was very much cheating. And with a cheating team, it is what it is.
Matty Man 5 says Mookie last year, definitely not this year. Well, it's not a deadline move. I should have been more specific, but you can't do much better than Mookie because I was one that actually did.
The deadline was the season starting.
Pretty much was.
There you go. Manny Wood was a big one.
Manny Wood is definitely the answer. Would be my answer if not everybody else was taking Manny Wood, so I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to do it about a week or two earlier. Casey Blake, because Casey Blake solidified a black hole at third base in the post-Adrian Beltre era that they just could not fill. You guys remember when Jose Valentin was supposed to be the guy, and then he played like 10 games? It was just bad times, fam. Real bad times in that post-Belly era.
Yeah, I mean, if you were rooting for Casey Blake, then yeah, it was a bad time.
He was fine. He was a fine dude. He's punctual.
Yeah, I mean, like as a human, yeah, I'm sure he was good.
He made third base not a problem.
He's going to show up to work on time. He's going to clock out when he's supposed to.
Think of even in the post-Casey Blake era because his neck stopped working on him.
He's going to bring donuts to the meetings.
Blake DeWitt didn't work. It took a while.
I remember thinking Blake DeWitt was going to be such a good player.
It took a while for Juan Uribe to work.
I
just kind of mushed mouth through
so
it.
much so that people often regard him as a bad contract, bad pickup for the Dodgers, which is funny because we think about him as that Uribe.
And then they just lucked into JT, let's be real.
Oh, so yeah, that was no skill in picking that up at all.
That was a huge one. But really, Manny Ramirez was the biggest pickup because that changed the dynamic of that team, of that young, the Jacksonville Five, as they were called back in the day, with Matt Kemp and the legendary Russell Martin, James Loney, Andre Ethier, who is filling the role that Tommy Lasorda filled for so many years and is going to be the Dodgers ambassador at the upcoming NBA draft, MLB draft. I almost made it.
Good job. You're good.
Anyways,
Daniel says Adam Kolarek. Remember that deadline when they were supposed to pick up like somebody huge, a big name, and everybody was waiting,
19, right?
And then it hit the 12 p.m. deadline, and there was no news, and we were like, "Don't worry, there's always something like 30 minutes after." I'm pretty sure the Darvish news was like 30 minutes after, whatever it was, and they're like, "Breaking: Dodgers trade for Adam Kolarek."
And you're like,
son of a bitch.
You're like, I have to spell this now all the time?
You're like, I have to look up who Adam Kolarek is?
I like, another good one, really sneaky good one here, T3P. I don't know if this was trade deadline or if this was the waiver deadline, but Steve Finley. That was a difference maker in 2004 after Paul DePodesta blew up the team and traded away LaDuca. And, thank God we got Brad Penny and everything he did in 2004.
Chunky Brad Penny?
Which was nothing.
Yeah.
Roy says Ricky Henderson, followed by laughter. Greg Maddox, which time? Let us know in the comments below.
Whichever time he was oldest.
Ryan Moore, remember Brian Dozier? Oh, I remember when everybody was coming to Dozierwood. And then
you remember when they wanted like Bellinger for Ryan Dozier like 2 years before or whatever it was? And then they were like, you could have him.
That poor dude fell off the face of the world.
Knee injuries, man. Knee injuries are serious.
Norma says Chase Utley. That was big. That was a big-time culture move for sure. No Face says you jinxed Kirsch. We already talked about that. You got to go back a little
catch up,
bit.
man. Listen to the whole episode.
And I accept full responsibility. I apologize, No Face. Sorry for the face. Roy, that was another huge one as well. Agon, along with Carl Crawford. And let's be real, the legendary Nick Punto.
Oh, look, we got our first Fire Roberts of the chat. That's cool.
Oh, thanks for hanging out, Will.
Yeah, this is the latest we've ever seen one.
So, with all that said, having a little bit of fun with Throwback Thursday. Thanks to our friends over at Vintage Brand for sponsoring a segment.
Is today Thursday?
It is Thursday. Trade deadline 2021. That's now. That's this year. And it is however many days until trade deadline. It is the 8th of July. The trade deadline is on the 30th of July, Friday, because they don't want to work on a Saturday, as we've established in canon here on Monday's show. So I figured to have a little bit of fun. Each one of us, brings up a guy that they'd like to see the Dodgers trade for realistically. Or maybe not. I don't know. Just come up with a hypothetical and put together a hypothetical package to acquire said player. I'm going to go ahead and let you lead off because I set it up.
I appreciate that. I think Jose Berrios is my guy for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I don't know. It just feels right. Okay, before I get into Berrios real quick, I need to address I
want to put you on MLB Network.
I probably would do better than
Brian
a lot of
Kenny.
these guys. Yeah.
Why do you like that move? I don't know.
I just do. Why not?
It was a really bad Brian
Got
Kenny.
to address. Yeah, it was really bad.
Go
I
ahead.
got to address the different colored eyed animal in the room. See what I did there? Yeah.
Yes.
Max Scherzer is not going to be a Dodger for a lot of different reasons. Contract extension. What else? 36. How old is he? He's 36, huh?
He old.
He old as his grandma. He's old as grandma. I would not expect that to happen. So if you're holding your breath for Max Scherzer, I would tell you to stop holding your breath because you're going to die. Anyways, Jose Berrios has this season and next season under control, so he will take a little bit more than your typical trade package, but I think that covers you a little bit. Again, do not know what's going to happen with Trevor Bauer, and I think that certainly complicates the situation. It makes it a little weird. I'm sure it makes it really difficult on the Dodgers to decide who they're going to go after. Berrios is having an okay season, actually, decent. He's much better as of late. He does get that high strikeout rate. He has his walks down. He's a guy who can throw hard, has a good breaking ball. He's at the 100 innings mark. has reached 200 innings or around 200 innings a couple times in his career, so he can be an absolute workhorse for you. But he's also a guy, as opposed to the guys that I've talked about over the last couple of weeks, that I'm like, hey, we just need innings eaters. We just need guys who are going to eat up starts. He is a guy that can start playoff games for you. So I do think he's a realistic target. What's it going to take to get him? We got a couple really good catchers they could have.
Couple? You're going to send 2 catchers?
No, I'm just saying, like, if they wanted one of our catchers, we got a couple they can choose from. You know, they're not going to take Austin Barnes for Berrios straight up. That's not going to happen. But do you see a scenario where Keibert is a Dodger after July? I personally do not.
At this point, no. He's your most valuable trade asset.
Because you're not trading like Josiah Gray. Yeah. Like, that's not happening.
You're holding on to Dogecoin right now, I think, with is that what the kids are into? You're holding on to Dogecoin with Keibert, and his value is just declining.
Every day that you hold him, it's like, hey, look, he's major league ready. He can play now. He can slot into most big league clubhouses. He can play, but he's not playing. So what are we doing?
And the Twins could always use a catcher.
Yeah, they like catchers out there. They had a really good one for a long time.
But it's going to take more to get.
No, I'm not saying just him. I'm saying that's a a way to start.
So I need a hypothetical package here.
I don't have another package.
Mas, por favor.
Because they're going to take an arm. I don't know who the arms are. They will probably
Edwin.
Honestly, they might take Edwin, and that's another thing. Dodgers fans look at Edwin Uceta and they're like, hey, he's not valuable. He doesn't do anything for you. You guys, he's 23, 10 appearances into his big league career. He has a ton of value, a ton of upside. That changeup is beautiful, but when it's the only thing you could throw right now because you're so young and so inexperienced, you're going to get hit. It's going to happen. You're going to give up 4 or 5 home runs, whatever he's given up by now. It's going to happen. So dude has a lot of value. If that, again, this is an argument I had on Twitter last night with somebody because people are stupid. They're like, DFA him, take him off the 40-man. I'm like, well, if you pass him through waivers, he's going to go immediely. Like, there's no way that guy makes it through one team, let alone 29 other teams.
He's no Yoshi Tsutsugo.
Sorry, Yoshi, with all due respect.
Yeah.
That's an arm that could go. There's a couple of arms in the system that could go. I don't know where a couple of different infielders that are coming up over the next couple of years are going to slot into. The Dodgers have kind of a log jam. I don't know what happens with Edwin Rios in the future. There's a lot of different questions that need to be answered.
There's guys like Jacob Maya and whatnot.
Right.
There's definitely some quality guys that probably aren't going to get much play up at the major league level, so I can see that. At the same time, though, are you going to trade like a shortstop type when Steger might walk? Yes. Yoshi died.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions that just ultimately come down to, like, were you singing Mario?
Yeah.
Because that didn't sound like it.
It's bad.
There's a lot of
royalty-free Mario. Yes.
That come down to what they want to do over the next couple of years, and that would include whether or not they actually have real intentions of signing Corey Seager. At this point, I have no idea if they have real intentions of signing Corey Seager to a contract. I don't. Like, if you had asked me a couple months ago, I'd been like, yeah, they're absolutely working on it. They want to do it. They want to get it done. We're now at the point where I'm like, either way, it would not surprise me if they signed him to a 10-year, not 10 years, but if they signed him to a long contract, if they just let him walk, either way, it would not surprise me at this point. So it is going to get very complicated over the next week. I also do not in any way, shape, or form expect them to not make a move before the deadline. I really think that has to happen. I just don't see how it doesn't.
The wheels will definitely be turning through the All-Star break. One of the biggest problems that this team will face is a problem they've faced for the last few years. Teams don't like the Dodgers. Teams don't like teams that are good. So they want to pillage them of their best players. So that's why you saw a couple of years ago, you're trying to go out and get some of the best relief arms at the time. It's like, oh, we'll start at Gavin Lux and move up. Whoa. Gavin Lux was the number one guy in the system at that time. It wasn't going to happen. So we might finally, like Tim, I would say cover your ears because prospect huggers are going to hurt on this one. We're going to lose some dudes if this team is going, really going to go all in for that World Series again, the back-to-back World Series, because they're going to need another kind of front of the line, front of the rotation type of arm to compete against some of these other teams that are top of the NL or top of the NL, top of the AL. It's going to be tough. You cannot count on Bauer, and I don't think very many people would want that, self included. My trade. Is there ever been a more Andy Friedman guy? Really, I mean, he's almost kind of a forehand guy. Has there ever been a more Andy Friedman guy than Kyle Gibson? I know you hate the idea of Kyle Gibson because this is his one good year.
I don't hate Kyle Gibson.
No, you say he cut you off in a parking lot one time.
Time at Ralph's.
Yeah,
Kyle Gibson shops at Ralph's.
Eat fresh. But he's the most Andrew Friedman type. He's the most Dodger type of dude that they can go after. The problem is he's having a really, really good year, and it's Texas. So the Rangers give us everything you have. We're bad, but even if you give us your good, we won't know how to do it. Thank you. 2.29 ERA, 17 starts. He's 6-1 for the very, very bad Texas Rangers. He is an all-star.
Plays in the biggest damn ballpark in the country.
There's never yes, but the Dodgers do things that make other teams better. And sure, the Rangers have a former Dodger guy. They have Chris Woodward. Sure, he would help in some way. However, it's not quite the Dodgers over there. Not the third base coach isn't going to bring all the cameras and all the smarts and all the people along with him. So they could make him even better. They could make him actually sustainable better. He's an older dude, so you're not necessarily married to him for seasons and seasons. You could get away with trading one top prospect and another fringe guy. It's a name.
Doesn't sit well for me, man.
It's a name.
It doesn't pass the Brook test, The dude
I think that gives it more meat than
all of the dude's
more flesh on
peripherals. All of the dude's peripherals are exactly the same for the past 6 years, but his bottom line stats just happen to be different. His BABIP is much, much lower than it normally is,
FIP.
which tells you more than anything he's having a hell of a lot of good luck, and the fact that he plays in a bigger ballpark for the first time in his career, other than obviously 2020, which is the first year of the ballpark. But everything about him, low strikeout guy, doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, not really a high ground ball guy, which is what you want from a low strikeout guy. He's just one of those dudes that just happens to find his way through innings. And he makes me very worried. To me, he's not quite a Lance Lynn type, because Lance Lynn is so much just fastballs and just rising fastballs, which, Lance Lynn in his own right is a very good pitcher. But he does make me worried. You're right. He is very much that Friedman type that he would pick up.
He's the number 4 guy in the postseason. That's all you need. You need somebody who's going to eat up some innings and keep your damn bullpen together into the postseason. So you don't need somebody to be the number 1.
You know what makes me worried about them doing a deal, though, is that somehow Joey Gallo's going to come along with him. And that's something that I just really don't want in my life, because we just got rid of Joey Gallo. He's with the Cubs now, and he has a mustache.
Bad one at that.
Yeah.
Ruiz obviously goes in this trade. That's the way it's going to be.
Kiebert's a part of every possible trade package right now.
The only trade asset, and they're not going to move off of Willie. And Willie's not going to play third base. It is what it is. That's the way the ball bounces. So you're throwing in the Gallo wrench. Oof. Yeah, I would not be surprised at all to see this Dodger team pull off some sort of stupid move to get Kyle Gibson with Joey Gallo and send Keibert Ruiz, like maybe a Mitch White and Matt Beatty, to free him of his sins here in L.A.
Yeah, that's another guy I was going to say. I was like, there's a really good chance Matt Beatty gets moved at this deadline. Really good chance, because he is a very valuable player that the Dodgers don't value. Just to be honest, they really don't use him the way that he should be used.
Let the kid play.
I will say that Joey Gallo should absolutely be a Yankee, just for his own purposes.
Well, then we can
has nothing to do with anybody else.
The Yankees might as well fire sale, because the Yankees are bad.
Oh, the Yankees are so bad.
So boom, we get the Gallo, we keep the Gibby. You send the Gallo to the New York, and you get, I don't know.
What do you want from the Yankees? Garrett Cole without his sticky stuff?
Maybe he just needed the beard back. Trade deadline about 3 weeks-ish away. It's going to be, I don't know if fun is the word I'm looking for, but keep it tuned right here to Dodgers Nation all the time. Please, it sustains us.
Looks like a lot of people are thinking that Matt Beatty's gone too, which makes me really sad because I really like Matt Beatty, but also very happy because he's going to get the starting time that he deserves wherever he goes, probably. Cross your fingers.
Bader Staters is a good dude. He's a good ball player. He's a good bat. Not always a great defender, but guess what? It's hard to be a good defender when you play, I don't know, 7 innings a week. It's just the way the ball bounces. So, Andrew, if you watch us, we're giving you some advice.
You talking to Andrew Jones?
Yeah. Why not? No, that was what was that, last week's Throwback Thursday?
Did we talk about Andrew Jones?
Yeah, worst contract.
Oh, worst contract.
Anyway, before we go, a reminder: check out the Chancer app, guys. You have a chance to beat our scores, and there's a leaderboard that tells you all about what's going on in the Chancer app. With Chancer, you are it's pretty much like a pick'em app. You're playing to see if you can make a bunch of guesses in upcoming Dodger games. It's cool. We're working with this nice company, these nice people, very nice people. A lot of people tell me. And this inaugural version, this first game that's official and sanctioned in all of this, there's a chance to win a $200 Fanatics gift card. So go check out the Chancer app. Go to DodgersNation.com/Chancer. You can download the app and play. You'll see us. You'll see some of our Dodgers Nation friends. You'll see, I don't know if Tim's playing, but I know Gail's in there. And, again, see if you can beat our high score. And if you download the app, Brooke will keep the mustache.
Download it because I'm notoriously very bad at these type of games. So you'll probably beat me, but at least you'll see my face on there, mustache free. I think my dog's in my profile picture, maybe. I don't remember.
My cat's in there. My
You have a
lady's
cat?
There's several cats.
You have several cats?
There's
I thought you just said Cookie.
there are 3 cats. I don't know where they came from. They just showed up one day.
That's what cats tend to do.
If you guys have ideas for questions in there, let us know. We're very open. We want to make that app as fun as possible for Dodgers fans. So, cool beans. Find us on the internet. We are on DodgersNation.com. That is us. We are Dodgers. I am Nation. .com. Subscribe to Blue Heaven on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Pandora. Everywhere your podcasts are available for free. We live there. Want to give a shout out for talking podcasts. Congrats, by the way, to friends of the show, Cooper Searles and Ross Stripling. They ended the big swing after 138 episodes. They started up in 2018, and I don't know how the hell a big leaguer made it as long as they did. But props to them. You guys killed it. You guys had some really good content on there. Sometimes there's one really, there's only one good episode, and it was when I was on. So that's
I've never listened to that episode. I heard it sucked, but
but anyways, yeah. Shout out to them. We'll get them on, and we'll do their exit interviews here at some point, maybe or maybe not. I don't know. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah. Guys, I'm Matt Brookmealy. This is Real FRG. We're on Twitter and Instagram. We're at Officials Dodger Nation on Instagram, at Dodger Nation on Twitter. You see how I did it backwards today? Kind of mess with you, throw off the groove, mix things up, make it spicy. You know what I mean? Guys, thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for the dude tuning in from Hawaii because, I'm just going to point out somebody very specific today. All-Star games next week. We'll be here Monday. Monday. We're not doing anything else. I'm not covering the game. I don't care about the All-Star game. It sucks. We love you guys. Bye.